Aloha, we're convening the Committee on Energy and Intergovernmental Affairs and our good friends from the Committee on Transportation, Culture, and the Arts on this Tuesday, March 25th, 3 o'clock in the dungeon, otherwise known as room 016. This hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. If we have any kind of technical difficulties, we will post a notice as to when we will reconvene. We're going to ask that each testifier be limited to 1 minute of testimony. We have a number of resolutions on the agenda. The first being SCR 68, SR 52. And on our testifiers list is absolutely no one. So we're going to go on to our next set of resolutions. That is SCR 159, SR 129. And for this, we have a whole bunch of interested parties. First, Melody Aduha from the Democratic Party of Hawaii has submitted testimony in support. Members, I'm looking at the sheet. We probably have about 25 people who have submitted testimony. I would venture to guess that 7 of them are in support and 18 or so are opposed. Oh, we have one individual, Mary Healy, might be joining us via Zoom.
Yes, she is on Zoom.
Okay, welcome, Mary.
Hi, Mary Healy, just here to testify in opposition. I stand on my written testimony, and I'd just like to ask you all to prioritize the citizens of Hawaii over petitioning Congress for any more funds for the Ukrainian war. I think we saw last month that President Zelensky came to the White House and was completely disrespectful and gambling with starting World War III. And we have so many problems in the state of Hawaii right now, so many people leaving, whether it's Kama'aina or Kanaka. I would just ask you all to prioritize that. And thank you for hearing my testimony.
Good, thank you, Mary. We also have David Asing. Yes. Individual, you want to come up?
Okay. So I sent a testimony over, basically opposing, because I believe that we shouldn't be spending money. I mean, any more money than our government already gave to Ukraine, and how it's being, I guess, how it's being portrayed over the media, and I don't know how you guys are viewing it, but it's as like, you guys are just painting Russia as the bad guys invading Ukraine. Of course, you know, humanitarian wise, we don't want anyone to be killed, of course. But what I've learned in doing research and looking at both sides and things like that, I do believe that, from what I understand from like Tulsi was saying, it's like how it wasn't like a unprovoked attack, you know, had to do with NATO. And from what I understand, like Russia told NATO like they didn't want to have Ukraine be part of NATO because their borders would be surrounded by NATO, basically. And that was kind of like the agreement, from what I understand, from what Tulsi was saying. And because of what Biden did about trying to allow...
Can you summarize, please?
Oh, sorry. But so basically, it wasn't an unprovoked attack. So basically, Putin had his warnings ahead. Like, if you do this, he has no choice but to attack. So basically, what I'm saying, overall, like, I oppose giving any more money to Zelensky and to Ukraine, not because you don't want to back them up. It's just that it's been misspent. And he also stated that half the money wasn't even received. So there's a lot of corruption going on. And I know Elon and Doge is trying to find all that, but I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't be giving any more. Like, we gave them more than enough, and I'm just very disturbed of how our representatives from Hawaii being represented.
Your time's up. Yeah, thank you. Alice Lanita, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, Alice.
My name is Alice Avellaneda from Ewa Beach. Thank you for hearing my testimony. I'm in strong opposition to this bill. I stand on my written word. And I'd like to add the fact that Hawaii has a lot of issues. There's a lot of homeless people. People are they're struggling to survive, put food on their tables. And I cannot, in the life of me, understand why we are sending money overseas to another country, to a war that country is known to be the most corrupt country on the planet. It's the #1 human trafficking country of the world. There's money laundering going on, corruption, and I'm strongly opposed to this. We do not be needing to send more money away from our people here, and we're already in debt to the rail. I mean, you think about how much stuff on the infrastructure we need to help the Hawaiian people here, the people that live here, take care of us first. Okay, thank you for hearing my testimony.
Thank you, Alice. That's all I have for those indicating they'd like to testify on these two resolutions. Anybody else wishing to testify on Senate Concurrent Resolution 159 and Senate Resolution 129? Members, any questions of those who are here? Okay, we're going to move on to the next pair of resolutions. They are Senate Concurrent Resolution 182 and Senate Resolution 152. And this is to initiate a summer streets pilot program. On our testifiers list, we have Samantha Lara from OMPO, who might be joining us via Zoom.
Now available on Zoom, Chair.
Thank you. Dylan Armstrong has submitted testimony in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on? Yes, please come forward. David.
Just reading over this bill or whatever. I just feel like, how come we can't take this up in the district board meetings of what the community wants for the communities? And instead of create a whole pilot thing, why don't we just hear what the communities want and try to go off of that? Why is it has to be a whole nother thing created? That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else wishing to testify on these two resos? If not, members, any questions? Okay, we're going to move on to the next pair of resolutions. They are Senate Concurrent Resolution 200 and Senate Resolution 180. And this is requesting OMPO to coordinate a transportation management training program. On our testifiers list, we have Mike Garrity from OMPO has submitted testimony support, and Dylan Armstrong also in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on Senate Concurrent Resolution 200 and Resolution 180? Yes, welcome, David.
I oppose this because I feel there's too much government bureaucracy, and I feel the people in charge of the transportation, isn't it their job to figure out and to explore or research what's the best situations or solutions for our transportation instead of creating a whole nother training program or something? Isn't that their job, like, for it to be efficient? So I oppose creating a whole nother thing for it.
Okay, great. Thank you for your insights, David. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on these two resolutions? If not, members, any questions? Okay. If the members don't mind, we're going to just jump straight into decision-making on these 8 pieces of legislation. On Senate Concurrent Resolution 68 and Senate Resolution 52, requesting the counties to authorize a percentage of taxes generated by the general excise tax and fuel tax collected by the counties to be used for the maintenance of privately owned roadways that are open to the public. Members, we have 0 testimony on this measure. I don't like to pass bills that have absolutely no support, so I'd like to defer action on these 2 resolutions. On the next 2 resolutions, SCR 159, SR 129, urging Congress to continue to support the the Ukrainian military. The recommendation is to pass with amendments, but the amendments are technical and non-substantive. Members, any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
Chair's recommendation for SCR 159 and SR 129 is passed with amendments. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator DeCoite. It's excused. Senator Richards. It's excused. Senator Favela.
No.
Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Committee on Transportation, Culture and Arts, same recommendation. If there's no discussion, Acting Vice Chair for the vote, please.
Okay, Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments SCR 159, SR 129. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair Inouye is excused. I vote aye. Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator DeCourt.
No.
Mr. Chair, recommendations adopted.
On the next 2 resolutions, Senate Concurrent Resolution 182 and Senate Resolution 152. This is to initiate a program to have summer street pilot program. And from what I understand, the community has actually expressed support for this idea. And I think it's Montserrat, right, in Kapahulu, that is looking to initiate this program and bring people out of their homes and gather on the street. I think that's a very worthy project for us to pursue. So I'd like to pass this measure out, these two resolutions out as is. Any discussion?
Chair.
Yes, Senator.
So this is for non-motorized bikes or transportation.
No, this is about just closing down the streets when appropriate and then bringing people out together.
Okay.
Yeah, not.
I was getting flashbacks of my community this side, so sorry.
Okay.
It made the oldest one, so. not the rule.
Okay,
All
any other discussion on these two resolutions to pass them as they are? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
Chair's recommendation for SCR 182 and SR 152 is to pass unamended. Chair Wakai, aye. Vice Chair Chang, aye. Senator DeCoit and Richards are excused. Senator Favela.
Aye.
Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Committee on Transportation, Culture and Arts, same recommendation, and chair votes yes.
Okay, Chair's recommendation is to pass SCR 182, SR 152 unamended. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Noy is excused. I vote aye. Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator DeCourt.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
And on the last two pair of resolutions, SCR 200 and SR 180, this is requesting OMPO to coordinate transportation management training program. Would like to pass this measure out with amendments, but the amendments are technical and non-substantive. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
Chair's recommendation for SCR 200 and SR 180 is to pass with amendments. Members present, are there any objections or reservations? Seeing none, the recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Committee on Transportation, Culture and Arts, same recommendation, chair votes aye.
Amendments, yeah.
With amendment.
With
Okay. Chair's recommendation is to pass SCR 200, SR 180 with amendments of the four members present. Any no votes or votes or reservations? Hearing none, Mr. Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Great, thank you. We are adjourning this joint committee. Welcome. It's just our lowly committee on energy and intergovernmental affairs on this Tuesday, March 25th at about 3:01 in the afternoon in room 016. Again, we're streaming this hearing live via YouTube. So if there's any kind of technical issues, we will post a public notice as to when we are going to reconvene. We ask those who would like to testify to limit your testimony to 1 minute. We have two items, actually 4 items on this agenda. First pair are Senate Concurrent Resolution 18 and SR 14. This is requesting the postmaster to relocate the Pearl City Post Office to the United States Navy property in the Pearl City Peninsula. And on our testifiers list, we have Larry Verrey. He's from the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, has submitted testimony in support of these two measures. Is there anyone in the audience or online wanting to testify on these two measures? If not members, I'm sorry, Mr. Verrey's not here, so there's no one to ask questions of. And we're going to move to the next pair of resolutions. They are Senate Concurrent Resolution 136 and Senate Resolution 115. This is to request the State Energy Office to convene a geothermal energy working group to evaluate the regulatory and policy landscape surrounding geothermal energy in Hawaii. On our testifiers list for these two measures is Jimmy Tokioka from DBED, has submitted testimony in support. Leo Asuncion from the PUC has, someone from the PUC here.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, my name is Jessica Simon. I'm an analyst at the PUC. I stand on the commission's written testimony and I'm available for questions.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Mark Glick from the Energy Office has,
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Monique Zamfis for the Hawaii State Energy Office. We stand on our written testimony with comments. We do support this measure, but we do request one minor revision, and that is that the report be due in 2027 rather than 2026. This is really to align with the resource characterization work we are doing with both DBED and UH. Available for questions. Thank you.
thank you, Monique. Michael Angelo from DCCA, Consumer Advocate.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, stand on our testimony, providing comments and a recommended amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Beatrice DeRego has submitted testimony support. We have Mike Ewald, I believe might be joining us via Zoom.
Yes, aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. We ask that you oppose these resolutions. Contrary to the claims that geothermal will bring cheaper power, geothermal has consistently ranked among the most expensive forms of electric power production, right up there with trash and tree burning and nuclear power, as documented by the federal government in my testimony. Puna residents have been speaking up for many years with concerns about air releases of hydrogen sulfide and other chemicals brought up in the process, including toxic metals and radon, health impacts in the community when they're exposed to those gases, drilling impacts from noise, well blowouts, underground fracturing, and not plugging of wells, reinjection of toxic chemicals, and it's not even a closed loop process like they claim, not to mention accidents. So solar and energy storage can meet our energy needs much more safely and at least 4 times cheaper. So please, let's not do this. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Mike. We have Kaylin Bray has joined us. Hello.
My name is Kaylin, and I am strongly in opposition of this bill. Kanaka Maoli have been fighting against geothermal testing on their homelands that are beneficiaries, and it's not fair to keep doing this. It's also a violation of UN human rights law. You can find this in, sorry, I had it right here. I put it in my written testimony as well, but filed with the ILO Convention 169. Under the UN resolution, all governments, including states, are required to develop systematic actions to protect the rights of indigenous and tribal peoples, including social and cultural rights, customs, and traditions and institutions. Looking at the public survey that was noted within the text of this resolution, it is highly skewed. It says, what was it? Sorry, I'm all over the place, but okay. I would go over what the statistical analyst says, but it says that, am I out of time?
Yep, you could summarize. I'll give you 10
Oh,
minutes.
sorry. Thank you. It says that they concluded their sample with 1,985 respondents across all 4 counties. At the time of this supposed study, there was over 1,426,535 residents. So we're polling to support this bill from 1,985 out of that whole poll. It doesn't sound like enough has been done to actually reach the community, and we're just jumping to conclusions in order to meet the profits of everybody else but Kanaka Maoli. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Kaylin.
Chair.
Yes.
Sure. Who's the individual representing?
Oh, were you representing your group or just yourself?
Here's the president.
Yep.
Okay, just curious.
And Micah Munikata from Ulupono might be joining us via Zoom. They're him.
Hi, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Micah Munikata here on behalf of Ulupono Initiative. Sorry, wasn't there today, but just wanted to testify in strong support of this measure. You know, getting everyone on the same page. You know, all agencies involved, stakeholders that have been a part of this effort is really a great policy moving forward. We're also very supportive, should there be any potential funding to support this particular working group, say in the budget bill or what have you. We're very supportive of that moving forward. So thank you very much, Chair, for hearing this measure.
Good. Thank you for joining us, Micah. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on these 2 resolutions? If not, members, any questions?
Sure.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The guy was on Zoom before, but it was me, Mike.
Oh, Mike Ewald. Mike, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I just give, I guess, maybe a couple of questions. So this working group is gonna look into alternative energy, especially with geothermal. You're talking about storage tanks. What kind of storage tanks are you, storage, whatever facility, what does that entail when you said storage? Storage of what?
Okay, I didn't mention storage tanks, but I did say solar with storage. That's something that HECO and KIUC are already using as the main thing that they're doing to expand their production of renewable energy. Almost all the solar facilities being built have battery storage with them. And while there have been some issues with fires with lithium ion batteries, and there's a concern around that in many places, I've also recently received information about the modern fire detection and suppression systems that are starting to accompany these to address that concern. And so it's something that should not have to remain a concern. But when I spoke with KIUC about this, because I know there's a big issue around firm energy and wanting things to be firm, and I asked them, is solar with storage, which they've been developing quite a bit of, is that firm energy? And they said, yes, it's as firm as you want it to be. If you want it more firm, you just add more batteries. It's as firm as you want it to be. And that's what the utilities are moving toward anyway. And it's at least between 4 and 7 times cheaper than geothermal based on the latest information from the Energy Information Administration.
Do you know how the batteries that you're talking about is manufactured?
I don't know all the details of it, but yes, I have some idea of the.
Okay, the only reason why I ask you this is because you're pushing batteries that they're now, they're deep sea diving, mining our ocean, raping the bottom of the ocean to make these batteries. So if you like talk about environment, earlier
that's not where,
let me finish.
That's not where most of
Let
it
you
comes
talk.
from. So.
I'll let you talk. Let me talk. You talked about power plants and all this stuff. There's so much better technology when it comes to waste to energy. Way better than raping the ocean for its minerals to make these batteries. 1. 2, I don't know what technology you're looking at. We're not talking about each power. If you look at the technology today, it's way better than any technology that have, especially when you talk about firm energy. Batteries will never be firm energy. I don't care how much batteries you put. Because if the batteries cannot get charged, guess what? There's no energy. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, State Energy Office.
Hi, Senator.
Hi, thank you for being here. Do you have any of the information related to the tasks that are set out for the working group?
Some of this we are working on actively. A lot of our work right now has been prioritizing the resource characterization with UH. But we are open to really framing that more.
So do you think the working group is necessary to accomplish the objectives of this risk?
Yes, I do. I think getting the members such as, the Utilities Commission, UH, and, DLNR in particular, all in one room. I think that can be a really effective way of getting the work we need to get done. And having it, as a concurrent resolution gives us those teeth to convene the working group.
Right, so I was listening earlier to some of the testifiers. They talk about Kanaka Maole. Any of them involved with this working group?
That was actually a comment, I believe, in our testimony. We did feel like the list, it does involve a board of trustee, but we did feel like the list could improve as far as Native Hawaiian representation. And because the bill or the resolution allows for us to add an appropriate party, that's something I think we are very willing to work with our existing communications. So we're working with a Native Hawaiian communications firm, Pa'akai, to really find the appropriate partner there and include them in the working group.
Well, because I noticed some of your directors here are of Native Hawaiian that will be representing this, as well as I'm just curious to know a representative from the geothermal industry with an individual, or whether the individual will be also of Native Hawaiian ethnic background.
Hard to say. I mean, we haven't named that person yet, so.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay,
Sure.
yes.
Yeah.
So I like the chair, I support this resolution because we need all the tools in the chest, but without this resolution, the energy office cannot conduct and do something like this to that extent, working with the different agencies and community leaders to do something like this.
We absolutely can, and we are. I think this concurrent resolution really gives us and other agencies a little bit of a mandate. particularly if there's time constraints. I mean, all state agencies are limited with time, but if there is a concurrent resolution and direction from the legislature to do it, it definitely supports the cause.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll take a brief recess. Thank you for your patience. We're reconvening the Committee on Energy and Intergovernmental Affairs on our 301 agenda. Just want to address a couple of the statements that were made in this hearing. And when you talk about geothermal, there is no need for batteries or any kind of storage. I mean, geothermal, the beauty of it, it's 24/7. The bugger is hot, and all you need is heat to create steam, then to create geothermal. So I think it's 24/7. I don't think we need any, because PGV or Puna geothermal has no batteries there. I mean, as long as Madame Pele is hot, that baby is pumping out energy. And with regard to the Native Hawaiian community somehow not benefiting, I mean, one of the top bills for DHHL this session was to go do geothermal on their lands. So the Hawaiians, I think, are coming around to being very supportive of the idea of geothermal. But to that point, because it was pointed out that there is no specific Native Hawaiian presence on this board, I'd like to make a couple of amendments to this measure to specifically state that amongst the group of representatives on this board, that we will have an individual from the Native Hawaiian community. We will also add the consumer advocate to the membership of the working group, add the chairs of the House and Senate committees on energy to the working group, add clarifying language that the representative from the electric utility, the geothermal industry, and non-government organizations with experience in energy policy are invited to participate by the chair of this committee. Extend the date of the submittal of the report for the working group's findings to be 2027, not 2026 as outlined in the resolution currently, and make technical, non-substantive amendments for clarity. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
We're taking the second two first.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry. That was my fault, but if you don't mind, we're going to take the last two, SCR 136.
Speech, we never like stopping.
Yeah, I'd like to repeat that because it might not be as good the second time. So sorry, we're going to go with the bottom two resolutions for voting first. Apologize for that.
And so Chair's recommendation for SCR 136 and 115 is to pass with amendments.
Cool.
Chair Wakai?
Yes.
Vice Chair Chang, aye. Senator DeCoy?
Aye.
Senator Richards is excused. Senator Favela?
Aye.
Recommendation is adopted.
Okay, and on the first two resolutions, SCR 18 and SCR 14, to compel or promote the idea of the Postal Service moving their Pearl City Post Office from the current location by the Walmart area and by the Home Depot there, which is causing a humongous traffic jam for the people in that area, to potentially looking at open Navy land on the Navy Pearl City Peninsula. Would like to support that idea and would like to pass these two measures out with technical, non-substantive amendments. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
Chair's recommendation for SCR 18 and SR 14 is to pass with amendments of the members present. Are there any objections or reservations? Seeing none, the recommendation is adopted.
Great, thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.